Hello children, welcome you all in class 7th. I congratulate you all for being promoted to class 7, all of you. Okay, as you all know, there is a corona pandemic in the country and the schools are closed. So, to continue our studies, let us begin with the online sessions. Now, for the subject science, let us begin the first chapter of your book, that is nutrition in plants. Before starting, let us try to understand what we are going to learn in this session today. So our learning objectives will be, first we are going to see about what are nutrients. Then what are the different modes of nutrition in plants. So in the whole chapter we are going to discuss how the plants make the food, what are the modes of nutrition in plants. Plants can be autotrophs, plants can be heterotrophs too. Okay? So this all we are going to discuss. Then the next topic related to plants, that is some particular topics we have to discuss, like stomata, then what is transpiration, then what is a cell, what are guard cells, what is chlorophyll, and finally the process by which the plants prepare their food, that is photosynthesis. Okay, so I hope you all are clear with what we are going to do in the session. Fine, so let's have a look on the next slide. Fine. Let us start with what are nutrients. So, you all have heard the word before, nutrients. From where do we get the nutrients? Okay, so we get all the nutrients through our food. As food is the fuel for us, food gives us energy, and in the food, many nutrients are present. As you can see on your screen, the nutrients which we get from the food are, see the first one, that is carbohydrates we get. It gives us energy. Then the next one is protein, which is a bodybuilding part of the food. Then fats. Fats also give us energy. Then vitamins. Vitamins help us to fight with the germs. Then minerals also have the same function. And water, which is a very essential part of the food. Then they all are the necessary nutrients present in the food, and hence they all are known as nutrients. So what we have learned now, that nutrients are of six main types: carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals, and water. Okay. Then now plants are also living beings as humans are. So plants also need food. Now, from where do they get the food? This is the question. So, plants can make their own food. As we all know, plants are green in color and they can prepare their own food. We humans cannot prepare our own food. We can only cook the food which we get from plants. Okay, so we humans and other animals too, they depend on plants directly or indirectly to fulfill the requirement of nutrients, because we get the food from plant, so we get all these types of nutrients from plants only. So our main source of food is plants as well as animals, because some of the humans they also consume animals, non-vegetarian people, because they eat meat and other flesh also, other animals flesh also, so they are consuming other animals. So we get the food or the energy through plants as well as the animals. Okay, I hope you are clear with this. Okay, let us move to the next slide. Now, the next one is, what are the different modes of nutrition in plants? How the plants get the food? Okay, so we have two main modes of nutrition. That means there are two ways by which the organisms or the plants can get the food. The first type of, or the first mode of nutrition is autotrophic nutrition. Okay, means autotrophs are those organisms that make their own food, and the only organisms that can make their own food are plants. In plants also, the green plants can make the food. Along with the green plants, some type of bacteria also make their own food, and hence they are also called autotrophs. Auto, the word auto means by their own. So, as they can make their own food, that's why they are called autotrophs. Then, the next mode of nutrition is heterotrophic nutrition. And the organisms which have heterotrophic nutrition, they are called heterotrophs. So, organisms that depend upon others for their food requirements, they are called heterotrophs. And in example, we can see humans and animals. See, humans are also animals. So, we cannot prepare our own food. We can only cook the food which we get from plants. Okay. So, in the picture here on the screen, you can see that there is a difference between autotrophs and heterotrophs. As autotrophs make their own food, while heterotrophs, they consume the food which is made by the autotrophs. Okay. So, in the picture, you can see that the plants are using the solar energy for it. Okay. So that question can come in your mind that why the sun is shown in the picture. Okay. So this part we are going to discuss later, that what is the role of sun over here. Okay. So I think this modes of nutrition of plants are clear to you, autotrophs and heterotrophs. So we humans come in the category of heterotrophs. Yes. Okay, let us look the next slide now. Okay. Some of the terms which are related with the next main process are, now the first one we have to discuss about stomatas. See, you might have heard the word stomatas. You have on your screen the picture of stomata also. Here you can see a cell, green colored cells are shown, and which are labeled as guard cells, right? And in between two green color cells, means two guard cells are there. In between them there is a space, there is an open pore, and that open pore is called stomata. As you can see in the picture that the guard cells are kidney shaped, or you can say bean shaped. Okay, these shapes you might have seen while if you are eating beans, you can see you have might have seen such shape. So they are bean shaped or kidney shaped. And in this cell there are two guard cells which are protecting the stomata, and because it's a pore, so it is sometimes referred as stomatal pore. Fine. So these stomatal pores are present on the leaves. Leaves have these tiny pores present on their surfaces, and they are called the stomatas. Okay. What now? The next question comes, what could be the function of stomata? Stomata is used for the exchange of gases, because we know that plants need carbon dioxide to prepare their food. So, from where that carbon dioxide will come in, or from where the oxygen will go out of the body of the plant. That is, the main path is the stomata. So, exchange of gases is the main function of stomata. Okay, I think that is clear with you all. Okay, now let us move on to the next topic. Fine. Our next topic is transpiration. Fine. If you see the picture on the screen, you can see that there is a plant shown in the diagram. Okay. Now the plants have roots which are present under the ground. You can see blue arrows downside. These arrows are showing that the roots, they take up the water from the soil. These roots are meant for the absorption of water and minerals from the soil. Okay. Now when we water the plants, the roots absorb the water from the soil, and this water is carried to all the parts of the plant. From base to the tip of each and every leaf, this water is transferred. Okay. Now plants absorb the water through roots, and now this water which reaches the open surface of the leaf is now sent into the space in the form of vapors during the presence of sunlight. That means the small pores which are present on the leaves, which are the stomatas, they are also meant for loss of water in the form of vapors. And this loss of water in the form of vapors from the leaves is called transpiration. Okay, so transpiration is nothing but the evaporation of water from the leaves. So this is loss of water. So this is a very important term associated with the plants, that is transpiration. Okay, I hope this is clear. Okay, now moving on to the next slide. Now, the next very basic term is cell. See, our complete body is made up of very small parts, and those very tiny units or the parts by which our complete body is made up of. And that tiny small part is called the cell. So, cell is the fundamental unit of life. All the living organisms are made up of these small tiny units, and we call them as cells. You can see on the screen the picture of the cells, and they are so small that they cannot be seen by our naked eyes. We have to use a microscope to see them. So this picture which is shown on the screen is taken by a microscope. So you can see the cell here. In the cell, you can see some round structures, right? These round structures are labeled as nucleus. So each cell in the body has a central round shaped structure which is called nucleus. Now this nucleus is the controller of the cell. Okay? And the outer membrane of the cell, the outer layer of the cell is called the cell membrane, as it is labeled in the diagrams. Okay? And in between the cell membrane and the nucleus, there is present a jelly-like liquid part, which is labeled as cytoplasm. I know these terms are very new for you, but still we have to learn together. Okay, so each cell has a round structure, which is nucleus. Each nucleus has a boundary, which is called nuclear membrane. Each cell has a boundary which is called the cell membrane, and the liquid which is filled in the cell is called the cytoplasm. So, complete body of the animals as well as of plants are made up of these small particles, these small units which are called cells. Okay. Okay, now moving on to the next slide. Now, we have the guard cells. Now, as we have discussed earlier during stomata, that stomata is nothing but the small hole or the small pore, and that pore is protected by a special cell, and that cell is called the guard cells. These guard cells are responsible for opening and closing of the stomata. Now, in the first picture, you can see that the stomatal pore is open, and if you see the next picture here, the stomatas are closed. So who is responsible for this opening and closing? The guard cells are responsible for this. If the guard cells are swelled means if they are filled with water, they get very tighten up and the stomatal pore get open. But if the water comes out of these guard cells, they get shrink, and when they shrink, they come close to each other, making the stomatal pore close. Okay, and these guard cells, I have told you earlier that they are bean shaped, or you can say they are kidney shaped cells. Okay, let us move on to the next slide. Now, the next very important term is chlorophyll. This word has a lot of meaning because this pigment or this word gives us the food. Okay, now when we say that the green plants can prepare the food, now why this green word is so important for us? See, leaves are also green in color, and that green color of the leaf is due to a liquid, or you can say a pigment, which is present in the leaf. Pigment means a liquid. So the leaves have a green color pigment present in them, and that green color liquid which is present in the leaf, which makes it green, is called the chlorophyll. Okay, now what is the function of this green color liquid present? First function, it gives color to the leaf, and then this chlorophyll or this green color pigment help the leaf to capture the sunlight. It captures the energy of the sunlight, and that sunlight is very important for the preparation of the food. Okay, fine. Now the next slide is about photosynthesis, which is a very important process present in the plants. Photosynthesis, photo means light and synthesis means making. Now what is going to be made by plants? Yes, you are very correct. Plants have to make the food. Now plants make the food in presence of light, and that's why the process is called photosynthesis. So photosynthesis is the process in which the plants prepare the food, they use carbon dioxide, and after making the food they release a very important gas which is known as oxygen. And this all process happens in the presence of sunlight. As you can see in the picture, see the water which is used for making is absorbed through the roots. The carbon dioxide which is used is absorbed through the stomata, and the sunlight is supplied by the sun. So using all these ingredients, plants make the food and they release a gas which is called oxygen. You can see a reaction on the screen. CO2. Now CO2 is nothing but the symbol used for carbon dioxide gas. When this CO2 reacts with water, water is H2O. In presence of sun's energy and of course chlorophyll, they make sugars. Now what are these sugars? These sugars are the actual food which is prepared in the plant. The formula for sugar is C6, H12 and O16. C stands for carbon, H for hydrogen and O for oxygen, and this complete molecule is called sugar. Now this sugar is formed in the plants. When this sugar is formed, along with that a gas is also released. Now this gas is nothing but oxygen gas. So during photosynthesis, plants inhale CO2 and they release outside oxygen, whereas during respiration, just opposite occurs. Plants have both the processes going on in their body, photosynthesis as well as respiration. When they respire, they use oxygen and they release carbon dioxide gas. Okay, but there is one question that during daytime it is safe to sit under a tree, but during night time it is not safe to sleep under the tree. The reason is during daytime plant has both the processes going on, photosynthesis as well as respiration. So during respiration, when CO2 is released out, that CO2 is used by the plant for photosynthesis. So no CO2 is given outside, so it is safe for us to sit under the tree. But during night time, what happens? Photosynthesis is not going on because there is no sunlight. So only respiration is going on, and in the respiration they release CO2, and that CO2 is not good for us. Therefore, this is the reason. I hope that is clear with you all. Okay. Now moving on to next slide. Okay, now it's time to summarize what we have learned in this online session. So let's rethink what we have done. So we have learned about what are nutrients, as nutrients give us the energy. We have carbohydrates, vitamins, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals as nutrients in our food. Then moving on to next, we have learned the various modes of nutrition, that is autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. Then we have learned some important topics, that is what is stomata, what is chlorophyll, what is transpiration, what is the cell, what are gut cells, and finally we have come to the process of photosynthesis. Photo means light and synthesis means the preparation of the food. So food prepared by the plant using CO2, water, sunlight and chlorophyll, and the formation of sugars and the release of oxygen. This complete process is called photosynthesis, and it only occurs during the daytime. At night time the photosynthesis does not undergoes. During night the plants only do respiration, whereas in daytime they respire as well as they perform photosynthesis. So I think that all is clear to you all. So here I am concluding with the session today. Stay home, stay safe, watch the videos completely, and based on that I am going to give you the assessments. Please solve those assessments as the records will be kept with me. So till then, all of you take care of yourself and goodbye.